Dr. Liz here and Skylar. Hello. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the benefits of stretching real quick, because we always know that unless you really know why you're doing something, that you're not as inclined to do it. So we're going to explain the why behind stretching, why it's so important, and then we're going to go through the whole series, okay? So the biggest benefit of stretching, a lot of people think it's flexibility, but actually it's detoxification. So actually, people know that animals stretch 200 to 300 times a day because they constantly know that they need to detox. Whereas we typically have to go from point A to point B, take the kids here, go to this appointment, go to the grocery store. So we don't really think about that. We kind of put that voice in the back of our heads and don't really think about stretching all day, but we really need to detox constantly now more than ever. The second benefit of stretching is oxygenation. So as we go through all of these stretches, we're going to be doing breath work throughout the whole series. And the breath work is important for two reasons. One, it helps bring oxygen to all of these vital tissues, and it also allows you to stretch these tissues. So you actually only allow the muscle to stretch and relax on the exhale. So if you're stretching, you're holding your breath, you're not really doing anything at all, nor are you getting any oxygen to these tissues at all. So breath work is huge throughout this whole series as well. The third one is blood flow. That's the third benefit of stretching. And so as we stimulate all these parts of our bodies that we don't stimulate normally on a daily basis, but we're going to start to, we're bringing blood flow to all these areas, and with the blood comes all the good nutrients to support these tissues. And the last three benefits of stretching are just tone, balance, and flexibility. And a good bonus of stretching is you're able to hold your adjustments longer as well. So more bang for your buck, all on top of all of those benefits. So just like with the adjustments, the biggest thing here is consistency. So as just with the adjustments, one builds on the next. Same thing with the stretches here. One builds on the next. So consistency is the key here. So we're going to have you do them twice a day. Once in the morning as soon as you wake up, and once right before bed, right before you go to sleep at night. So, and try to stick to that habit as strict as you can. You can do them extra throughout the day, then you get bonus points, but really the minimum is twice a day. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pass it off to Skylar. One of us is going to show you all of these poses from the side, and then we'll also have one of us showing you from the front, so that way you see everything very clearly. So with that, I'll pass it on to Skylar.
All right, and just before we get started, if you don't have one of these already, you can see that this is our stretching packet, and so ask any one of us to give you one. We'll be more than happy to get you that. You can have as many copies as you would like. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first stretch is going to be a reach for the sky, and then you're going to hinge. So it's going to look like this. You're going to take a deep breath and reach up to the sky, and then on the exhale you're going to start to hinge at your hips and come forward. And see, Dr. Liz has a very straight back. You want to make sure that you're pushing your butt backwards and you're reaching your head forwards, keeping that back nice and straight. So once you reach your point of tension, you'll take another nice deep breath here. And on your exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper, still keeping that back nice and straight and elongated. And then you walk your hands back up your legs to really protect that low back. And then our next stretch is going to be a spinal twist. So, all right, so for this one, I'm going to have you interlace your fingers like this and put your thumbs on your chest. So you're going to start by taking another deep breath in. On your exhale, you're going to twist to the side. You'll inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side as far as you can. Again, inhale back to center. Exhale, twist as far as you can. Inhale to center. And use your exhale to really go as deep as you can to the other side. All right, back to center. And you can do those ones. You'll do about 20 of those and just follow your own breath. Next, we are going to get our neck stretches. So for these, first we're just going to let our head drop forward as far as we can and take a nice deep breath into the back of your neck. And the exhale, just let it all go. And we'll take another deep breath here. And let your head just kind of feel gravity pulling your head downwards. on your exhale. And then once you take those 2 deep breaths, you'll come back to neutral and do the same thing backwards. Let your head tip back as far as you can. Take 2 deep breaths here. Good. Back to center. And then next we'll just tilt to one side. It's really important to make sure that you don't bring your shoulders with you. So keep your shoulders neutral and just let your head tilt to the side. Take 2 deep breaths here. Good. Back to neutral and then tilt to the other side. And make sure you're getting really good deep diaphragmatic breaths all the way into the stomach. Good. And then you'll come back up. And then this time we're going to rotate our head over to our shoulder and take another 2 deep breaths here. And on your exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper since you don't have gravity helping us. Good. And then we'll come back to neutral and twist to the other side. 2 deep breaths here. Awesome. Back to neutral. Moving down our body, we're going to get our triceps next. So for this stretch, a lot of people, they bring their hand back and they just kind of pull as hard as they can to get a good stretch, but you really don't need to pull too hard. So as you can see, Dr. Liz is just kind of walking her hand down her back. That should be enough of a stretch for that tricep, but if it's not, you can come from the front and just give it a little push. And 2 deep breaths here. Good, and then we'll switch arms. And then get 2 deep breaths here. Good. All right, and next we're going to move down, get our deltoids. So for this one, you just have one arm straight. You'll bring it across your body and then loop your other arm underneath and just give it a little tug. You should get a good, nice stretch right here. 2 deep breaths here. Good, and then we'll switch arms. Straight arm comes across your body, hook underneath and give it a tug. Awesome. All right, moving into our shoulders. For this one, we're going to start with our arms straight at our sides. And you'll rotate your thumbs back as far as you can, and then forward as far as you can. You want this motion to be nicely slow and controlled. And as you're doing this, feel all the muscles in your arms and in your shoulders kind of opening up. And see how as I'm moving my wrists, my shoulders are also moving. So now that you have the motion down, we're going to take a deep breath in as we go forward. And then exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. And exhale back. Good. You can do also about 20 of those, just following your own breath. Next, we're going to get shoulder circles. So for this one, we're going to isolate each arm individually. So one arm is going to come here to your stomach and just remind yourself to engage your core, just bringing your belly button in and up. You should be doing that really for all the stretches. The other arm is going to start slowly and controlled, just going forward circles. It's nice and small. Make sure that elbow is locked. Once you get to about 4 or 5 here, you'll increase to about halfway. And then you'll go to your maximum range of motion without any popping or clicking or pain. If there is any popping or clicking or pain, just kind of back off how high you're bringing your arm. Just bring it down to there's no pain. And as you do this, the pain should kind of subside and the popping should get less and less. So then we'll stop and we will go the opposite direction, starting small again. And then we'll increase it to halfway again. and then your maximum range of motion. Good, and then we will stop and switch arms. So this other arm comes to support the core, and the other arm starts going forward circles, starting small again. And you can see that as I'm doing these forward circles, the rest of my body is staying completely still. So you really don't want to move around as you're doing this. You really want to isolate that shoulder. So then bring it to halfway. And then your maximum range of motion again without popping or clicking or pain. And then we'll stop and go the opposite direction, starting small again. A little bit bigger. And then your maximum range of motion. Awesome. All right, and now we're going to move over to a doorway.
Carrot.
All right.
Let's follow Skylar around the office.
Hey! All right, so let's go right here. We're going to start. We really want to individualize, again, each arm. So in the pamphlet that we have, it shows you doing both arms at the same time, but we're going to do one arm just to really make sure that we're getting the best stretch for each arm individually. So first, you're going to have your elbow here aligned with your shoulder, and it's as you're standing here, you're just going to kind of take a step forward, and that might be enough of a stretch for your pecs. If it's not, then you can start to twist your feet and the rest of your body along with your feet to the opposite direction. And then once you're here, you feel like it's a good stretch, take 2 deep breaths. And then we would just switch sides. So from the back, it'll look like this. So you'll have your elbow again aligned with your shoulder. You'll take a step forward and then start to twist to the opposite direction, and then 2 deep breaths. And as you're doing it, make sure that if you're twisting your feet, the rest of your body isn't twisted the opposite direction. You really want to make sure that your whole body is aligned. Once you get those 2 deep breaths, I always like to do a straight arm as well, just because it kind of opens up not just the pecs here, but also down to the forearm. So you would do the same exact thing except with your hand level with your shoulder. So you'll take a step forward, and then you start to twist to the opposite side till you get a really good stretch down your entire arm, and then 2 deep breaths here. I'll just do 1. And then from the back, it would look like this. Straight arm aligned with my shoulder, step forward, twist to the opposite side, and another deep breath. Awesome. So we're going to go back to the stretching area and get the rest of our bodies. All right. We're back. We are back. Okay. So now that your upper body is pretty awake and alert, we're going to just do that very first stretch one more time and see if you can maybe go a little bit deeper with it. So we'll take a deep breath and reach up to the sky. On your exhale, start to hinge at your hips, coming forward towards your feet, keeping that back nice and straight. Another deep breath here. And exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper, keeping that back nice and straight. Awesome. So before we come up, Dr. Liz, can you show what our backs should not look like as we're doing this stretch? See how her back is arched here? We really want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we'll just make sure that that is nice and straight. And if you feel like you can't do it, get somebody to have like maybe a pole, and they could put it on top of your back and see if your back is straight. That's one way to do it. Or even stand next to a mirror and you can kind of play with it and see if your back is straight. So from here, you'll again walk back up your legs, protecting that low back. Awesome. So next, we're going to move and get our hip flexors. So for that, we've got these little pads here. Just gonna tilt it down so we can see. Perfect. Awesome. So we're gonna have one knee on the pad here. and then the other knee coming forward. Before we start the stretch, make sure that both of your hips are facing forward and your pelvis is tucked under. And then as you're here, you might already feel a good stretch. If not, kind of just come forward a little bit, and then 2 deep breaths here. And I do want to show you, so we're getting a good stretch in our quad. Sometimes if your toe is tucked under like this, you won't feel it in your hip flexor. So if you untuck your foot, it might relax that quad muscle and allow you to go a little bit deeper into the hip flexor here. So another deep breath here. And you can even raise that same arm up, and that'll bring it up a little bit higher and deeper. Good, and then we'll just switch legs. Doing the same thing here. So untuck that toe, and then kind of bring it forward, making sure, but again, your hips are straight and your pelvis is tucked under like that. And your core is still engaged. And 2 deep breaths here. Awesome. All right. So next we are going to grab our quad stretches. So for this one, it's a really good test of your balance. If you don't have very good balance yet, no worries, just find a chair or a table or anything. But basically, she's gonna turn from the side, and you're just gonna grab your ankle, one of your ankles, and make sure that you're grabbing your ankle and not your foot, because you wanna make sure that you're supporting that. So, and then here, take a nice deep breath. And make sure that your supporting leg has a little bit of bounce to it, so you're engaging your quad. Another deep breath. And once you feel stable here, you could even kind of bring it down a little bit, increase that stretch and even that test of your balance. So then we'll come back up and switch legs, grabbing the other ankle. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Good. Another deep breath, and if you want to go forward with it. Good. And then we'll come back up, and our last stretch is going to be our calf stretch. So for this one, we're going to, so you can see a little bit better, you're going to come back again into a lunge position. Your back leg, your back heel is going to be planted on the ground. And it's your entire leg is going to be straight, your back leg. Your front leg is going to bend a little bit, and just kind of go forward until you feel a good stretch in your calf. And even kind of bending forward might help to get a little bit deeper too. So 2 deep breaths here. Good, and then we're going to switch. Got the other calf. Again, heel planted. Back leg straight, and you can use your front leg for support if you want, and then leaning forward, 2 deep breaths. Awesome. So that is a wrap. Thanks for joining us, and we hope that you have a great time stretching at home.
Yay!
Thanks, Skylar.
Thanks, Dr. Liz.